So, I don't like pants. There are a few pants that I actually feel comfortable enough wearing, but I'm usually a skirt or a shorts girl. So I thought maybe if I make my own pair, I can make them comfortable. But the problem is, I don't know how to make pants. I think it's really complicated. I think they are annoying to make, but it's better to try and learn than to not try. And maybe this pair will be good, maybe it will not. But at least I will have experience, and maybe in the future I can make a pair that I actually like. So let's get on with that. I got my package today of my fabric to make pants, obviously. Even though I don't know how to make pants. So I don't know how to make pants. I have made pants before, but I'm not good at it. It's confusing me. But I got this really nice corduroy fabric, so I thought that I could bring you along when I make it, because it's so pretty. So this is aubergine and this is olive green. 100% cotton. This is also my first time working with corduroy. The inside is not as soft as the outside. It's not as soft as I thought it would be anyways. It feels very much like a typical pant. And the outside is the typical corduroy with the lines and stripes. No hesitation. This is what you do when you have limited space. At least your cats get a cave in the meanwhile. What the? How did this all get here? Daisy. It was in fact not Daisy, which I knew. It was just the fabric. So I used a pair of my boyfriend's sweatpants as the base for the legs, and then I used a pair of shorts that fit me really well around the waist as a reference for the top. So I just traced that with chalk. And Daisy wanted to be very around for this project. She loves to lay on all kinds of fabric. Anytime I have a new project and I have my fabric on the sewing table, she will always sleep there. I have a fabric there right now that is actually very uncomfortable. It's very stiff. I think it has some kind of starch on it, but she loves laying there. Even Anders questioned her.
Oh no.
Oh no. Here comes the second one. It's a family gathering.
Woo!
Daisy's like, no, Daddy ruined it.
This is too weird.
And there Peach goes into the pant leg. So I had the fabric folded, so it would be 2 layers. So I would have 2 fronts and 2 backs. And I took a scrap piece that was hanging out from where I had cut the leg and just used that to measure how big my waist was. And then I cut out the parts for the flyer. Yes, that was a Clefairy that I used for the reference for the size of the pockets. Then I cut that out, but I didn't include a part of it because I was gonna sew that together with fabric from the pant leg so it wouldn't be as noticeable if you see the pocket from the outside. And then I made several layers. Then I made several meters of bias tape. It's not actually on the bias, but it's actually a different name in Swedish. I don't think it says anything about the bias, which, if you don't know, is the 45-degree angle of the weave. The weave is naturally a little bit stretchy, so therefore it's good for bias tape because then it takes curves well. But if you have the tape narrow enough, it will take a curve pretty good ease anyways. This is so confusing. I'm on the fly and I am so confused. I have no idea what's going on. I am watching a video about it, but it still doesn't help. Flies are too complicated. Why did people invent them? Why didn't we all just resort to using anything else, honestly? Can you wash toilet then? I need to look this up because it is starched, and if it's an interfacing, I obviously can't restarch it. It doesn't seem like you can. I will just use black cotton fabric instead, because the one I have is relatively sturdy. So we need one flyer piece, and then we need 2 of these because it's gonna be an interfacing layer and a backing layer. So basically, right side on the inside and then the facing and backing. So if I got this correctly, you do like this. Some sewing is so easy, but then something like this, it just doesn't make sense. And I didn't want to use a zipper because usually, even if the zipper itself is metal, the fabric around it is usually polyester or some other form of synthetic. So I decided to do a button fly. No, my needle broke. No, the corduroy was too strong. Also, did you know that you're supposed to change your sewing machine needle after like 6 hours of use? Who keeps track of that? But I did see someone who changed it for every project instead, and that's pretty clever, but that sounds so expensive. I did see a website selling 100 sewing machine needles for 300 kronor, which is like $30. So it's like 3 kronor per needle. And I guess that's not awful, but it feels that way when you know you have a functioning needle right there. So I just whip stitched the raw edges by turning and felling. Are you serious? Right at the end it just stops. Are you happy now? When you're like 7 centimeters longer? And these are the buttons I used. I found them at the thrift store. They are kind of thick. Don't think they were the best choice, but I bought them and I'm gonna use them. And they are very pretty. But if I find a project in the future where I feel like those buttons would suit nicely, I'm not gonna hesitate stealing them from these pants. Okay, so 2 problems going on here. The legs twist because they are not on grain, which is like the most annoying thing I have ever discovered. And this leg is better because of how I have pinned it, but then the pockets don't match up. And the thing with this Manchester is that it is very fragile. If I just So what I might do is cut up the French seam on the inner sides and try to make them line up better. The fabric is too brittle to seam rip, so the only thing I have to comfort me is that the legs are wide enough that I can try to do another French seam on them. So this is what remains. My question is, will I be able to get away with having the outer seams still not aligned because then the pockets will match up if I do the inner seam strategically? I'm gonna have to pin and see that before I sew anything again because I don't want to mess this up. My head is really spinning around this trying to come up with a solution because it doesn't look off grain. I think I have found a solution to the twisting. I just let the bottom of the pants try to follow each other as much as they could. There's a lot of excess fabric on the bottom, which I'm not gonna care about because it's up here, so there won't be any tension trying to pull this down. I think that was what's causing the twist. It's tension in the side, so it doesn't want to stay straight. Now the only problem is the crotch doesn't line up anymore. The front part is a lot bigger now. I'm not sure how to fix that yet, so I will have to come back when I solve that. Okay, so what I did was... This looks really strange, I know, but I mean it is the crotch and there's space down there that needs to be thought of. So I put this piecing on. When I line up, it actually reaches the front crotch. So I'm gonna have to pin that and see how it lays. I have pinned the leg. I haven't pinned the side of this, so ignore that. And ignore this. It's not perfect. It wants to go a little bit twisted, but it's way better, so I just won't care for it. It's gonna be there, it's gonna be a little bit twisted. These are very loose legs. I'm gonna I'm gonna put a drawstring on the bottom anyways, so it's gonna be a little bit puffy. I feel like this small of a twist won't do anything bad. Oh yeah, here I take the tarlatan to put in the waistband, and I just sew that together with the right sides together, and then I turn it and stitch down on the inside. And I do the same with the legs, except I make a drawstring channel. The bedroom has never been this messy. There's literally fluff everywhere. It's even crept into the TV room. And here I demonstrate how deep these pockets are by putting a bunch of my makeup in. So thank you for watching this very messy ride, and I hope that we will make something a little more exciting in the future.